My views on the Trump and Zelensky meeting. Looks like the special military operation is going to end. Amisha says, what exactly happened between Trump and Zelensky? What led to the situation? Zelensky was thrown out of the White House. This is crazy. Zelensky was lambasted and silenced by Trump and JD Vance on air, live on air yesterday. If Zelensky has any shame left, he should resign with dignity. The more he delays and continues this his comedic rant, the more troublesome his fall from his reign will be. What's your take on his future? Will he escape to any of the European countries as he has to relinquish power? Post ceasefire possibly this year. Okay. Yesterday was incredible. What happened, right? Um, there was this live press briefing from the Oval Office in in the White House. You have President Trump and Zelensky sitting in these two chairs, and to President Trump's left, you have JD Vance, the vice president, and Marco Rubio, the secretary of state. To the right of Zelensky, you have some Ukrainian people, and the whole room is filled with media people. And this is about 45-50 minutes long, the entire video that you can find on social media. Um Initially what happened is that you got these little clips that came out of this entire blow up that happened. uh, Zelensky and Trump essentially shouting at each other, talking over each other, JD Vance intervening, and it was horrific to watch. And it looked like Zelensky was ambushed and they brought him there to humiliate him or to uh, give him a dressing down. That's how it looked, right? But then if you watch the entire video, the 45-50 minute video, you will see that Zelensky started this entire matter. He was being rude, disrespectful. He was looking for a fight. You'll find in life sometimes some people are high on drugs or high on alcohol, and they go out there on the streets or wherever they go looking for a fight. They're looking for a fight. Zelensky looked like that. He looked like he was high on something, some substance, and he had come there looking for a fight. And he was provoking both Trump and JD Vance. And Trump stayed calm as long as he could. And then at some point, Zelensky starts pointing at JD Vance and saying that if you raise your voice, it's not going to make you right, and that sort of thing. How disrespectful can you be to your hosts? And especially when your host is the most powerful nation in the world. And especially after the fact that Zelensky is alive because of the support he has received the past 3 years or 3 years plus from the United States and NATO, right? It was crazy. It was incredible. The guy, Zelensky, seems to have lost it. Incredibly rude and disrespectful. The most powerful country in the world, the most powerful president or head of state in the world. You don't disrespect that guy. Oh, man. So, uh, this situation was caused by Zelensky. Uh, he was essentially trying to negotiate a deal live in front of the cameras. You don't do that live in front of the cameras. Whatever diplomacy negotiations you want to do, you do it behind closed doors. When you go to the Oval Office and you have the cameras in front of you, you have to behave with a certain amount of dignity, and you have to be tactful and diplomatic when the cameras are rolling. You know what we saw yesterday was what generally happens behind closed doors. Behind closed doors, you can yell at each other, negotiate, push back, bully, whatever you want to do. You don't do that when the cameras are rolling. You got to see something that generally happens, that always happens behind closed doors. That's that's a first. I've never seen that. I have been telling you for the past 3 years, as long as this show has been going on, the Ask Abhijit show, that behind closed doors, diplomacy is all about hard power. It's about arm twisting. It's about bullying. It's about ultimatums. It's there's nothing nice about diplomacy behind closed doors. But we saw that yesterday with the cameras rolling, and Zelensky he tried his best to to disrespect his hosts. And there came a point where Trump said enough is enough. And he came there with an agenda. He came there with demands. You don't make demands when you have zero leverage. What leverage does Zelensky have? Absolutely nothing. He is he is living and breathing at the pleasure of the president of the United States. The moment funding and support stops, he's dead man walking. It looks like there was some kind of instigation from the EU nations as well, because the moment this happens, like a whole bunch of completely insignificant and irrelevant EU leaders put out the same tweet supporting Zelensky. Interesting thing, very interesting thing happened. So it looks like this is the beginning of the end for Mr. Zelensky, unless the EU is willing to support him and ensure his safety and survival. The man is a quisling. The man is a traitor to his own people and his own nation. He has colluded with a foreign power, with the Biden regime, uh, and participated in the destruction of his nation's demography, his nation's human resources, his nation's wealth, his nation's infrastructure, his nation's sovereignty, his nation's prosperity, his nation's future. That's what he has done. That man is that's what a quisling is. Victor Quisling was the original Quisling, and he did not meet a very good end. Zelensky is a Quisling. He's going to go down in history as a traitor to his people and his nation. And it just generally doesn't end well for such people. So, yes, eventually Trump said enough is enough, and the meeting ended. And there was supposed to be the signing of a deal, the minerals, the mineral wealth deal, in which Ukraine would hand over its mineral wealth essentially to the US because of all the wealth the US has expended in supporting Ukraine the past 3 years. So that deal did not happen. It was not signed, and Zelensky and his entourage were asked to leave the White House. They were essentially kicked out, thrown out of the White House, like Amisha says down here. Uh, and I don't blame Trump or JD Vance for what happened. It was entirely Zelensky's doing. So, yeah, incredible scenes yesterday.